Hi everyone, and welcome to our second podcast produced by the New South Wales RVRA. It is my great pleasure to introduce James Wiltshire, who is the newly appointed CEO of the DCM Group. Congratulations on your new appointment, James.
Thank you very much.
He is directly involved in the conversation around ageing, retirement living and care in Australia. James has had more than 2 decades of experience in seniors living and is a regular facilitator and speaker at national conferences and executive forums, and I bump into him everywhere. James and the DCM Group are very good friends of the RVRA. James MCs our webinars, I think 4 now, at no cost to the RVRA. So James, we are calling this the Reverse Podcast because I invited you to interview me about some of the work we have done. So James, over to you. Maybe you could briefly tell us what DCMI does to start with.
Yeah, thank Roger. Firstly, thank you so much for having me. So the CEO of the DCM Group. So we're actually predominantly a media company, and what we do is report on the retirement living, aged care, home care, or supported home as it's now known sectors. In addition to that, we have some consumer-facing products with villages.com.au and Aged Care 101, a real entry point for people to understand that next move in their life. We also have what you referred to there, the DCM Institute, which focuses specifically on professional development and skill development of the most important people in the retirement village sector. That's village managers and salespeople and head office staff who are tasked with resident experience, which is leading into care, which I think we're going to talk about over the course of the interview. We're also in recruitment events and a lot of other things as well. So it's an absolute delight for you to have me here today. But more importantly, it's a bigger delight for me that you've reached out and asked me to be part of this important conversation. So I believe I'm in the driving seat, Roger. So
You are.
strap in.
I've got seatbelt on.
Strap in, you're in my capable hands. Now, Roger, you said I can ask you absolutely anything at all. So I thought what I'd start off with is the most important one. Research. It's something you're very passionate about. And I know during the time we've spent getting to know each other in the sector, it's really something that you're driving with the Residents Association in New South Wales. You've also become a bit of a champion nationally with it. So maybe just start us off. Talk to us about why research is important to you.
Well, we and all the other national RVRAs say that we are the voice of the people. Now, to be the voice of the people, you have to hear what they have to say. And the best way to find that out is to ask them. So we do surveys we've done 3 seriously big surveys now. So we do those to find out what they are thinking about relevant topics that are having in the industry at the moment. And we take those surveys and we write very comprehensive reports with recommendations, and we provide them to all areas of the sector, including government, for their feedback, input. And yeah, it's a great thing that we do. We love doing it, and we're going to continue doing it.
I think what's important there is not that it's something you're passionate about, which is understanding the problem better from the point of view of the residents, but you're also now developing a bit of a track record. And I think that's really important. You're not some cowboy researcher out there wanting to talk to residents. You are building a track record. And, when you and I first started talking about research, it was really about your psychological abuse research, where you looked at psychosocial safety of residents in retirement villages. And I have to say, that was a real opener. You only did that in New South Wales, but I think it put elder abuse, psychological safety, elder abuse on the agenda nationally. So just give us a bit of an update on where that's been at and the journey you've been on with that specific piece of research.
Yeah, well, that was our first one. We were lucky that I have a living guru who understands research very well. So I called upon that living guru to help form a survey, because we were getting lots of concerns and queries about abuse within retirement villages, not just from managers, from residents committees. So we thought, well, let's find out what is happening. And we did focus it only on New South Wales. We got over 1,600 responses, and the findings were very, very interesting that 70% of all abuse reported abuse, psychological abuse in retirement villages is residents on residents, which was quite disturbing to us. So we used that to then launch a platform of training, education, information around that space.
Yeah, and that's certainly something we've been a big supporter of here at DCM Group, and I know we partnered with you on bringing those webinars. So we've gone from that very hot topic and important topic Last year you did your Have Your Say survey, but now your focus is changing to something which is of equal importance, which is understanding support at home. So just for everyone listening, I thought I'd just cover a few quick things before asking you this question, Roger. So
Yeah.
this is the melting pot in which we're operating at the moment, whether it be residents living in retirement village or just older Australians out in the community. At the moment, aged care beds are full across the country, and that's where you can have one in your local community. There's a shortfall. We've got the National Health Minister saying we need to deliver a new aged care facility every 3 days in order to meet the demand that's coming through. There's questions about whether that's possible. They see support at home as the silver bullet. Right now, as we speak, there's 100,000 senior Australians waiting to be assessed for support at home, 100,000. There's that same number again who have been assessed and waiting to receive a package. These are folk living out in the community in need of care and support. But from your perspective, they're also residents in retirement villages, aging in place, looking to their operator for support, for guidance, for help. Very important topic. So, Roger, setting that as a scene, tell us a bit about what you're hearing on the ground that has escalated this to the point where the RVRA nationally, not just in New South Wales, has decided to take a leadership position and do this research.
Yeah, well, we took the lead on it, and predominantly because at the start of this year and throughout the rest of the year, we've been to 15 different villages. We've talked to over 700 people, and the discussion normally happens over the tea and scones later after the presentation. And the common theme coming out of that was support at home. People were confused. They were concerned about the language. They were frightened about what it was going to mean to them. And a lot of people didn't even know how to engage in getting on the program. So we thought, well, hang on, is this widespread throughout Australia? So we engaged all the other national RVRAs, and we've sent the survey out about 2 weeks ago. It's a very comprehensive survey, and we've got over 1,700 responses to date. We expect to get quite a few more than that. But we flavoured it towards retirement villages. So we asked some particular retirement village questions like, does living in your retirement village allow you to live independently longer? Now, the survey so far, the report's coming back, the 90% plus people are saying, yes, it does. And that's probably understandable when you think about retirement villages have a community of support, like-minded people who look after each other. As I often say, we are the first responders. So if something happens, your neighbour will take you to the doctor, your neighbour will pick you up from a fall, your neighbour will do these things for you, or do your shopping, or walk your dog, or take your bin in. And that has got to be helpful to most people. So very interested in the results of this survey. We expect we'll have the report out early June, and I think it's going to be quite comprehensive, and there'll be a lot of findings in there that will open some people's eyes, I believe.
So just for the benefits of those that are listening to this podcast when it goes out, so the survey is currently in the field. You've got 1,700 responses. You're very keen to get more. If I'm hearing this podcast, I think, Roger, I'd like to give you my views on my experience with support at home in a retirement village. What do I do?
Well, the easiest way is to get onto the New South Wales rvra.org.au website, and there is a link to these. I nearly said podcasts. There is a link to the survey on that, and there's a link to the podcast as well, James. But there's a link to the survey there, and that's the easiest way. Click that, and you're straight into the survey. It's as simple as that. Fill it out, push submit, and then it gets recorded.
And you said before, the research is very close to your heart, and I know your wife, Julie, is a world-renowned researcher, and she'll be crunching the numbers to make sure the report is the same consistent quality of the previous reports you've put out. When you get that document in your hot little hands in June, for those who are saying, okay, I don't just want to fill the survey, give you the research. Research is only as good as what you do with it. I think we'd agree.
Yep.
What do you plan on doing with the report once you've got it in your hot little hands?
Okay, so to distribute the report, we called on a whole heap of friends, including DCM Group and a lot of the operators. We'll do a media release. We'll send it out as wide as we can, but we'll be making sure that there are substantial recommendations. And usually people pick that up come to us, ask us questions about it, and we will get as much media as we can on this subject while we can.
And I think you will. I think it's very much a hot topic. Certainly understanding how many packages are in circulation, staff shortages. I recall, Roger, you were telling me not that long ago that your village was looking to do a day for people to come into the village and speak to service providers. You actually had supported home providers, and I'm going to say this through no fault of their own, actually said, you know what, Roger,
Yes.
we're not going to participate because we're actually oversubscribed with people we're providing services to, and we have a massive wait list. So this really is a topic of right now for retirement villages, isn't it?
And it's now taking away choice, right? Because oldies want to have choice. What aged care facility do we go into? What provider do we have who comes into our ham to provide these services? But yes, one of those providers, one of the largest providers here in Ballina, did not want to come because they didn't want to raise anybody's expectations about going there. They ended up coming, by the way, but they wouldn't present. They just had a little stall, but they wouldn't present. We had 120 people turn up to that session, and 40 of them engaged and got consultations with the 4 providers that were there. So the lack of knowledge, even in my own village, was quite apparent.
And I think it just shows how hungry for information residents are. So if you do come across this podcast or you're an operator, you're a village manager, if you work in that space, find a way to create platforms to inform residents of what's going on in this space, because you never know when that information will unlock something extremely helpful for someone who might otherwise be suffering and in need of care and support. So once again, Roger, I can only applaud you and the Residents Association for taking a leadership position on this.
Thank you, James, and thank you for your contribution to the sector as well. And thank you for being a good friend of the RVRA. Thank you for being part of this podcast. We will be doing others. Not sure if James will be in the next one, but we were doing others. And so stay tuned. If you want to look at this podcast, get on our website, rvra.org.au, and you'll be able to see that. So thank you, James. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for watching.
Thanks for having me, Roger.
Pleasure.